Hey, ladies, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Here we are, episode 46. And something's been on my heart lately, and just thinking about how we're approaching making decisions, how we are responding to one another, especially when we don't agree. And I want to dive into that topic here. Before I do that, I just want to ask if you would take a moment and review and rate the podcast. If you're not on Apple, but you are on Instagram and you're following the Health, Life, and More for Women podcast on Instagram, go ahead, find your favorite episode and leave a review there. All right, let's dive into talking about fear versus love.
Welcome to the Health, Life, and More for Women podcast with certified life coach, mom of four, and just all-around lover of all things 80s, your host, Jennifer D'Amato. Buckle in. Let's get started.
So today I'm talking about how we make decisions or how we respond to other people, how we even respond to our own thoughts, how we respond in conversation, how we respond to information, and how we even make those decisions about the information. And the two words that kept coming up for me were fear and love. Now, those might feel uncomfortable, and I really feel like there's some other words we could put in there because sometimes, when we think of fear and we're like, well, I'm not afraid, but maybe we're stressed, right? So maybe we respond from that place of fear, of concern, or just legitimate, like uncertainty and scared, right? But sometimes we can be responding from absolute stress. I mean, if we look at current circumstances, if we look at what's been going on in our country since the beginning of March, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of stress, and it really can be the guiding force in how we're making decisions, in how we're responding to others. And I'm seeing it all the time. I've really actually had to do some work on myself because I don't want to come from a place of fear. I don't want to even respond to someone from my own place of stress. That I have to actually take some time to think and to be with my own negative thoughts, the things that are really weighing me down before I respond to anybody, before I engage, before I share. However, you're probably noticing that's not happening. There's so much fear or stress or anxiety, and people are coming from that place, whether it's they're making a decision, they're responding. On the flip side of that, what if you're responding from love? And you might think, again, that word, that goes really far, but maybe it's just a place of calm, of peace. That you're not responding out of fear or that negative emotion, but you're coming from a place of even abundance instead of fear, instead of stress dictating how you respond or how you make decisions. So take a moment and just think, when's the last time I had to make a big decision? And then think, what was dictating that? What emotion was dictating that decision? So I go back to a pretty significant decision in my life, which was to enter into a certification program. I mean, I had a college degree in psychology, was a social worker. I went into teaching. I was an elementary school teacher. And then I actually, in later years, I had stayed home with my kids, and then it was called a volunteer coordinator, and really, again, just working with people and training and teaching and supporting volunteers. So I decided to take this big leap. I was making a very big decision. And there was a part of me at first that was making that decision out of stress, out of, I'm not doing what I was called to be doing. I'm not doing what I want to be doing. I've always wanted to help people. I've always wanted to help people live the best version of their life. It's why I went to college and got a degree in psychology. I'm fascinated with human behavior. I'm fascinated with the human brain. I'm fascinated with decision-making process. I mean, I just am. And I was making another big leap. Now, it was coming from a place of stress. I had to stop because that's not the way to make a decision. Does it happen? All the time. But I wanted that decision to come from a place of peace and abundance. So even when my husband was like, oh my gosh, yes, you have to do this. If you guys have ever heard me tell this story of my husband's amazing support when I discovered this whole other world, I mean, it was still something I had this like hold back. I can remember talking to the woman I was, signing up through and, going to enter into this certification program. And even though I had my husband, cheering me on behind me, I was like, I had to be okay. I didn't want to make the decision out of stress, out of fear that I was doing something, that wasn't honoring, who I am and what I feel called to do. I would say the same goes for we've had some big parenting decisions. And let's be honest, freaking parenting is hard. And it's hard no matter if they're toddlers or teenagers. Different hards, but still hard. And it's so easy to get caught up in making decisions as a parent under stress. I actually believe it's more work to stop, do some work on yourself, do some work on your own thoughts before you make any decision as a parent, than it is just make that quick decision. And I'm not saying that there's opportunity all the time. Sometimes you have to make quick decisions. You can reflect on them later. You can change your mind. I'm just saying when we've been faced with a decision, we've actually had the ability to sit down and have to work through a decision or even a response to our kids. Our kids they're just amazing. Our girls are freaking awesome. They make it way too easy. Don't tell them I said that. No, they know. But they really do, for the most part, have made it pretty easy for us. But there's still been times where we've had to respond. And it wasn't coming from a place of love and, calm and peace where we've had to do some work before responding. I've talked about mommy timeouts. I've talked about putting myself in timeout. It's not so I can sit and have a glass of wine, y'all. It's so I can calm the heck down before talking to my kids. I know right now there's a lot of parents out there trying to make the best decision for their kids when it comes to their education. I mean, across the country, I'm hearing from mom after mom, even some dads have reached out to me, and my messaging to them is going to be the same. No matter what the decision you make, if it's to send your kids to school, to do a hybrid, to homeschool, because most of them are reaching out to me because I'm, considered a veteran homeschooler. I've been homeschooling for 12 years. I've done all grades from pre-K now through high school. And I believe that no matter the decision, if it's based in fear, if your decision is based in fear, then I believe that decision, it's going to be harder down the road. If you change your mind, when people come to you and, ask you things about it, or you go through the first struggle, whether your kids are at school or at home or whatever it is, if you make that decision from a place of just peace, from love, it's coming from an absolute love for my kids, no matter what the decision is, you have the opportunity to come from it from a place of fear, stress, anxiety, or come from a place of just love and peace and clarity. And not only do you experience the benefits of that right in the moment, but the long-term effects of it are they outweigh everything. They outweigh everything. How we decide, how we respond matters. It truly matters, and not just for the moment, but it matters for the long haul. It matters when that thought pops up again, or like I said, something doesn't go well. I talk to a lot of business owners, a lot of coaches who are struggling, and they're making decisions out of fear. They are making decisions from a place of complete stress. It doesn't honor who they are. It doesn't honor their business. And ultimately, the long-term effect is they're not working with other clients. They're not actually moving forward in their business. Now, as a coach, I see this all the time. And if you're new to the podcast and you don't know that the clients I work with are people who have lived in fear of food, fear of eating food, fear of their body, fear that if I have carbs, I'm going to be fat. These are real fears. And so everything, every decision, every response when it comes to eating, moving their body, the way they look at themselves, the way they talk to themselves, all has been based in fear and in stress and anxiety. If you've never opened up the refrigerator and had a stressful moment about what to eat, and I'm not talking you don't have enough to eat, I'm talking you're overwhelmed because you feel that there's something wrong with you based on how you choose what to eat. This is who I work with. And helping those women get to a place where they no longer operate out of fear, but out of appreciation for their body, out of gratitude for their body. When they operate out of a place of complete peace and clarity, that is a game changer for their entire life. Because what happens is they start seeing it when it comes to food. They start seeing the benefits of how they talk to their body, how they talk to themselves when they're going to eat or they have eaten. And they want to start extending that level of peace into other areas of their life. So the best thing that we can do for ourselves is to stop before we make a decision, to stop before we respond, whether it's, on a Facebook post, on an Instagram story, in a conversation with your kids or loved ones, or with yourself. And just ask yourself, am I responding from fear, from stress, from anxiety right now? Or am I responding from a place of love, from peace, from clarity? Simply asking yourself that, taking that moment to pause, see what comes up for you, because you may decide, I need more time with this. It's not the right time to respond. It's not the right time to make this decision. Or you may just have that level of peace knowing that how you're responding, the decision that you're making is perfect for you right there in that moment. And then you get to enjoy that throughout the benefits of the decision you just made. Now, if you're like my clients and you find yourself fearful when it comes to food, that you find yourself stressed out when you think about food, first, know that you're not alone. And then second, why not book a consultation with me? This is what I do, taking you from fear to gratitude, taking you from stress to peace. When it comes to food, when it comes to the way that we talk to our body, that's exactly what I do. Because I'd rather you operate from a place of abundance, from a place of peace and clarity. I actually hope that for all of you, that's how we can show up each day, from a place of peace, clarity, a calmness of the mind. All right, ladies, until next week. Hey, ladies, did you know that you can find this podcast on Instagram? Just search Health, Life, and More for Women and come follow along. You'll never miss when an episode is released or any of the behind-the-scenes fun that I'm having. I would also love if when you're listening, go ahead, tag the podcast, and I'll give you a shout out right on Instagram. If you're still struggling with knowing what to eat, if you're struggling with knowing, are you even hungry? Don't forget, I have a free ebook that I wrote just for you. Click the link in the show notes below or head to www.healthcoach4life.com. That's www.healthcoach4life.com. And don't worry, girl, I've got you covered for all the things you've ever needed. Just head to the show notes below. You'll find links to not only my free ebook, but I've provided links to all my social media platforms.